Hi, I'm Dr. Guy DiMartino. I'm a Florida medical malpractice lawyer, and today I'd like to answer the question, you think you've been involved in a medical malpractice claim, you think that a doctor or a hospital did not do something right, and you want to talk to somebody about a medical malpractice claim. How do you go about finding a lawyer? How do you go about finding a lawyer amongst all the noise? You see, you go home, you turn on the TV, there's 25 lawyers that are on the TV saying, I'm a personal injury lawyer, no fee, no recovery, blah, 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 blah. You open the phone book, you see page after page of lawyers saying, no recovery, no fee, I've been in practice for so many years, I'm going to do this for you. I handle medical malpractice, I handle dog bites, I handle slip and falls, I handle criminal, I handle disability, I handle divorce, on and on and on. How do you really go about picking a lawyer? I can't tell you how to pick a lawyer, but I can tell you how I would go about picking a lawyer. Because choosing a lawyer is not only choosing somebody that might have the best credentials, it's also choosing somebody that you will respect, that you will trust, and that you will be able to get along with for 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years, depending upon the case. So how would DiMartino go about choosing a lawyer? The first thing I would do is I would go to the Florida bar and look up civil trial lawyers and see who is board certified as a civil trial lawyer. Florida allows attorneys to set themselves apart from other attorneys by going through the board certification process. In order to be board certified, you have to have tried a number of civil jury trials, you have to have a number of continuing education hours, and then you have to go through a peer review process, and finally you have to take a written examination. So the Florida bar does some of the work for you, because the question you have to ask some of these advertising attorneys is, if you have so many cases, how come you're not board certified? There's only about 1,000 or so Florida board certified civil trial lawyers throughout the whole state. The second thing I would do is, once you have found a lawyer and put your targets on there, go and look on the Florida bar website at their license. See if their license is active, see what type of organizations they belong to, see if they've had any disciplinary complaints. The third thing I would do is I would go to their website. Look and see what kind of website they have, because you'll be able to tell what type of person they are. If their website is flashing and telling you, I'm going to get you $1 gazillion and this, that, and the other thing, they're really not telling you anything about your problem or giving you answers to your problems. However, if their website has a lot of information, if they give you free books, or if they give you tracts, or if they have a lot of blogs explaining the whole process, or possibly the medical condition that you might be having an issue with, that might be somebody that you would consider. The fourth thing that you might want to look at is the lawyer's background. Just because somebody's a lawyer and just because somebody does medical malpractice does not necessarily mean that all cases are within their wheelhouse or within their area of focus or expertise as you would have. For instance, I'm a chiropractic physician. I have a lot of background in anatomy and physiology generally, but specifically I have more knowledge regarding the neuromusculoskeletal system. I am very comfortable handling cases of orthopedic injuries, of neurological injuries, of surgical conditions, things along those lines. However, there might be a lawyer out there who was an OBGYN before they became a lawyer, or worked in the operating room, or was a OB nurse, or something along those lines. And if you have an obstetrical case that is dealing with those issues, that might be more in that person's wheelhouse. Or you might find a lawyer who possibly represented a doctor who had a number of medical malpractice cases dealing with a certain issue, and that lawyer might have handled 3 or 4 or 6 or 8 or 10 of cases that involve the same issues, like bariatric surgery or baby brain damage cases or things along those lines. So you want to interview the lawyer and you want to find out what types of cases are in their wheelhouse. You want to find out if they have any specialized knowledge. Would you want to go to me as a chiropractor lawyer versus another lawyer who is possibly an anesthesiologist and a lawyer if the case involves bad anesthesia during the surgery process? I would much rather at least first consult with that lawyer to see if you like them and they have the knowledge and experience and want to handle that type of case. So that's the type of balancing that I would do. And finally, you need to determine if you like the guy or the girl. Because litigation is not easy, and you will be spending a lot of time with the lawyer and the law firm, and you have to find out if you all really jive together. Because litigation process is teamwork. You can't have just one person. It has to be the lawyer and their staff and the client working together for a common goal. These are my recommendations on how I would go about finding a medical malpractice lawyer. If you have any questions regarding a Florida medical malpractice claim, you can always give me a call, shoot me an email, visit my website. Thank you and have a great day.